Hey guys, what is up? It is Friendly Neighborhood UberGoose here, and I'm doing a bit of a unique thing. I'm going to be doing my post commentary on my Summer Games Done Quick run. Summer Games Done Quick was, of course, the SDA marathon being held in the summer in Denver, Colorado, to raise money for Doctors Without Borders, which is an international charity, pretty much helping people all around the globe with various needs. Anyway, this isn't, you know, this isn't a thing for it, but regardless, um, it was really fun being there. It was a lot of fun. I've already re-recorded this intro a couple times. I'm not sure what to say, but yeah, I'm just gonna lend my thoughts on what's happening on screen at any given moment, and try to explain things as best as I can. This is more explaining what I think I did well, what I think I did poorly, etc., instead of my usual commentary where I will explain why things are being done in the run, because I explained those in the run itself with the live commentary. And I think I'm going to upload both this as well as the live commentary, but for now, we're just doing the post. So, what's happening here is we're just, fixing settings because settings are a problem. As you can see, I already have a file there, and unfortunately, this was a bit awkward when it was brought up. So, in the SCA thread, where we're bringing up, donation incentives, obviously, name is awesome incentive. File name is a great incentive. The file name incentive for Dark Souls raised a bunch of money at SGDQ, so why not have the same thing for SGDQ, right? Yeah. So, the only issue was, this run being Black Knight Halberd, or BKH, I need to get a random drop weapon, and that is not marathon safe at all, because, 5 minutes to get the weapon theoretically could go an hour without it dropping. Like, that's happened to me many times. So I just wanted to be safe and make a backup. However, when I was, making my backup, I was like, oh, what's in the lead for Dark Souls? Can we cut that off because I need to make a backup file? And then I was told Ryan Davis, he at the time had recently passed away, and he was the co-founder of Giant Bomb. And then they were like, well, did you tell us that you needed to cut it off early? And I was like, yes. Because I brought it up in the thread. But regardless, it was a bit awkward. I had to do that. A couple people who wanted to donate between the time of me making the backup save and between that time and the actual run were disappointed, but it had to be done. There was no way around it. I had to make a backup, and as it turns out, I'm very bad at RNG, thus I needed to go to the backup. So this is the first run through, and spoiler alert, I don't get the halberd in either of the two first run throughs, so there's not much to talk about here. There will be once we get to Firelink, unfortunately. But here there's also no game sound. And if you're wondering why there's no other audio channels, it's because when I was recording the intro previously, I couldn't handle hearing somebody talking while I was talking. So I apologize for that. It would be a lot easier if I had a mic that wasn't, part of a headset. Oh yeah, so here's actually a question that was asked a good bit, and I guess it kind of makes sense, but this guy right here, if you can see my cursor, which you should be able to, this guy right here, that's Kixon. Kixon is a friend of mine, and I'm not sure if you can actually see my mouse cursor. Let me double check. Well, it's on, but I don't see it in the preview. Oh well. So that's Kixon. He's a dude he lives in Denver. He plays Dark Souls, and he was one of the first people that I met through Dark Souls speedrunning. And yeah, so he just kind of was hanging out at the event a bunch, and the initial plan was actually going to be me at chilling at his house for the event, but that kind of didn't work out too well, and I ended up staying in the hotel. But regardless, he's a pretty cool guy, and yeah, that's pretty much that. Also, this guy back here on the left, that's Kiera. He did a lot of work for the event. Anyway, so Asylum went pretty normally, nothing big there, and then this is where I fixed the sound. For whatever reason, it had auto muted, even though the sound was at like 60% on the volume mixer. It had auto muted itself, so the second I hit it, it started making noise again. There was no display of any sort of muting, but it was muted, so that was a bit strange. And then the timer didn't get continued when I had hoped. I had assumed he had actually kept the timer rolling. OmniGamer was on the timer, and Bursentia was doing the donation reading. I'm not sure if Omni was on the timer and sound. I want to say he was. Also, pretty much nobody was in the room to watch the run, which I guess is what you get when your run is at pretty much true, like, actual morning, when you're at an event full of people who play video games. That's what happens. So, there's going to be a couple things that aren't going to go too well in the very near future. There was not much I could have done about it. If you remember how I was talking here, I was incredibly nervous. Just saying, like, being at the event, watching some like a lot of the runs happening in the marathon room, watching them even in the practice room, like it's really daunting to try to, live up to the standard. Also, I got wombo comboed, which is unfortunate. However, it shouldn't matter unless I get hit by the barrel. Cough, cough. Foreshadowing. So, yeah, it really would have been fine if I had not gotten hit by the barrel. That is actually something that I'm really curious about. Is how I got hit by the barrel there. It looked like I had enough height to clear it and the proper angle, but it just decided to kill me. And then here I went over what is known as goosing it, which is, getting hit by the barrel. So it was kind of sloppy. Very, very sloppy start. Like I said, very nervous at this point, because, you're trying to fit into what people have as an expectation for the event with all of the speedruns, such as, I don't know, Zost or Jaden. So, really, really intimidating. I had a lot of nerves throughout a lot of it. There's a part later, obviously. A lot of people, if they watched it live, will remember the part. It was very soul-crushing, very much a Dark Souls moment. Here I'm just taking stupid hits. I don't know why I did this. Yeah. Unfortunately, there's going to be a little bit of somewhat bad frame rate. But that's just, like, how it goes. Don't worry about that. It actually is just, like, the video. Like, it's not my re-record. It's just how the video is, which is unfortunate, but oh well. So the barrel's gone, thank God. And the only thing to top this off would be to die to Havel. Yeah, like I said, there's not going to be too much to talk about in a lot of this stuff. I just kind of wanted to talk in general about my experiences as well as this run itself, how I felt it went, and various other things. Yeah, so one other thing was that the French community for this game is very, very awesome. Specifically, some of the people involved, like Xserve is a big one. There is also Kanan, whatever his name is, Kanan, something like that. He's another big Dark Souls guy. I apologize for not remembering his name, but it's Kanan Kessin. That's what it is. Okay, just popped into my head. There's also a bunch of just really cool people who have been involved in speedruns for Dark Souls, such as Maki13, Twino, and a bunch of others that I'm not going to list off everybody because I could be going for days. But the French community has really, really adopted the Praise the Sun, quote, meme, if you will. So they decided to, like, the night before, they were like, hey, let's make it a donation incentive for them to praise the sun during load screens. And Mike walked into the practice room, was looking for me, and he was like, hey, would you be okay with praising the sun, I think it's called, because he had no idea at the time what it was. And I was like, yeah, I guess. And he's like, okay, how much money do you want to set for it? And I was like, 500. That'll be reached by tomorrow. And I believe it ended up raising like 879 like in the first 2 hours. It was kind of insane. So I really should have set that incentive higher, but how was I supposed to know? Now, unfortunately, load screens are not exactly. I can't praise the sun at all load screens. That just wasn't going to happen. So essentially, I praised the sun whenever I would split during a normal run, and it ended up being fine. It worked out, and I look pretty fucking retarded during it. So look forward to that if you haven't already watched the run. But yeah, the energy was actually pretty good. I got like really down on myself after the horrible mistake, but other than that, I think the you know the feel of the room was pretty good. Even though it was like me kicks, Omni was falling asleep at the keyboard, and Brasentia just was trying to deal with the millions of donations that we got because Dark Souls. Um, so there wasn't much, happening. And I think Marsh was to my side filtering comments because nobody else was, and his run was right after mine. So yeah, we didn't get the drop in the first one. So the time was reset because accuracy, right? It won't be reset after I miss it this time. But you can actually really see it in my gameplay. Like, I was really nervous, like almost shaking the entire time. It took a while, but I did eventually kind of get into the run until the Seath incident happened, at which point I then became incredibly nervous again. And there were a couple more mistakes beyond that were pretty bad and made me even more nervous, but it was really just a hell of a lot of nerves, and the fact that I was trying to continue with pretty good live commentary. I thought it was good live commentary. I'm sure some people have disagreed with me, but regardless, I guess I'll try to talk about. Also, sorry if I say a lot. Now you're gonna hear it a billion times now that I've pointed it out, but I kind of want to talk about the whole vibe of the event. So this was my first GDQ that I've gone to, and it was a lot of fun. Pretty much when I went in, I expected, okay, I'll hang out with like Kixon, and if I ever see Spudley, I'll say what up, and like that was it. Those are pretty much the people that I knew who were at the event, which was a bit daunting. But when I got there, Spike pretty much immediately like started talking to me, and we hung out a bit, and like PJ was pretty cool too. Pretty much everybody was pretty awesome. Hanging out with I pretty much hung out with everybody at the event. Some other cool people that were there were Gray. Gray is an Australian guy. He pretty much, I'm not sure what he speedran at the time, but I think he's trying to. Oh, he did Pokemon Puzzle Challenge, I think is the game. I've never played it. I'm sorry. I'm a terrible person. But yeah, he played that, and he also did Rubik's Cube stuff. And he, like I said, he came from Australia, which is crazy. Johan Howitzer is also a cool guy. He runs Pugsley. If you haven't seen him stream, like, I highly recommend it. Whenever he streams Pugsley, it's insane. That game is ridiculous. There were just a lot of other people there that I feel didn't get the credit they deserved, but all that aside, the practice room vibe was really cool, really welcoming. Everybody who was practicing was just, sitting there practicing. And then if you walk up, sit down, ask questions, they would love to tell you the answers. They would absolutely love to explain things to you, and that's just awesome. I think that's really, really cool. That's the way that the speedrun community works. Instead of being like, go away, you're weird. It's just like, yeah, dude, this is what you do to do this, etc. So, yeah, the vibe was really, really cool. There were a couple times where it was pretty over the top. For example, setup day, Smash Bros. Was the best thing of all time. Kurt Q versus I Ate Your Pie money match went down, and that was pretty intense. So there was some really, really cool stuff that happened. A lot of behind the scenes action. That's pretty much what a lot of the event was behind the scenes stuff. And here we're gonna not get the halberd again and go to the practice file, so the clock will keep running because there's no reason not to. What else was I gonna say? Oh yeah, one more little anecdote from the event. I don't remember which day it was, but PJ and Mecha Richter decided one day that they were just gonna, play more Battletoads Double Dragon. And why not, right? The game is awesome. They love playing it together, so they did that. However, I'm not sure whose NES they were using, but it was like completely broken. So the game didn't launch first, right? Also, I'm saving this gold pine resin for safety strats, which in hindsight obviously didn't matter, but I was taking every precaution necessary for a marathon run, so why not? But yeah, like I said, the game didn't launch. Then it did launch, and the screen was all, random bytes. There was no true display, so then they turned it off, turned it back on. And then it was somewhat fixed, and they were like, cool. So then they started playing, and everything began to break. Not break in the way of Battletoads Double Dragon, but break in a way that it never should. And it basically seemed like it was corrupt. And it was probably one of the funniest things of all time, because it would actually just assemble random parts of sprites, random bytes and things, to just place everywhere. I'm pretty sure PJ kicked with a fist at one point, but yeah, there was just a lot of really hilarious things that happened in the practice room that, just never got shown on the stream, obviously, because the stream was meant for, professionalism. We're raising money for charity, etc. Of course, our Rayman Origins run was, not exactly professional, let's say, but it was pretty great. Okay, so now back to the run. Nothing really went wrong for quite a while. There were a couple points where I think my stamina management was a bit off, but I got 2 here pretty perfectly, I want to say. And there were no real mistakes for this first however long. Yeah, all of the running went well. Obviously, Hollow's room, you just saw, went pretty much as best as I could get it. So, yeah, I don't know. There's not much more to talk about. Oh yeah, this gargoyle fight, didn't it go pretty much perfect? I want to say it did. Yeah, that jump up was a bit bad, but the fact of the matter was I had him stunned. And then that was really lucky, is that the wing got clipped by the sword. And the second gargoyle was second gargoyle. Oh yeah, so I guess I'll explain here why I'm not doing red tearstone. Or why I didn't do red tearstone. Pretty much leading up to the event, I was going to be like, hey, let's make a donation incentive for what route I'm going to do, because that sounds like fun. But as we got closer, I was like, there's no way I'm practicing, X amount of routes in there to just be prepared to do one, to perform one at marathon level of, good. Also, this was a spot where I was actually kind of scared that I was gonna roll right off. Thank God I didn't. Oswald actually like always. Oh yeah, I grabbed the what is it? Because somebody donated 15. I think it was 15, and then they said I'll donate another 15 if you use what is it to taunt a boss. And I was like, challenge accepted. So yeah, Oswald went normally, and then we praised the sun, and I kind of intentionally tried to look as stupid as possible, which ended up working swimmingly. What was I saying? I was saying something. Oh yeah, Red Tier Stone. So I wanted to do a donation incentive for route. Realized I couldn't do one run up to snuff of any route just on queue. So I decided to limit it to one run or one route, and I wanted to make it unique because the AGDQ run was Pyro, and that was the quote most fun Dark Souls run. So I wanted to make it a bit different and go the other side of the coin, which is fastest. However, Red Tier Stone is way too dangerous for marathon. No matter how hard you practice, at no matter like what route, no matter how hard you practice, anything with Red Tier Stone, you can die easily to anything in the entire game. If anything hits you, you die. That means you have to not make any mistakes, which is insane for a marathon, especially with marathon luck and everything. Oh yeah, Lautrec, I don't know, Lautrec just didn't cooperate for some reason. The first kick sent him to the left instead of onto the ledge, but, shit happens. So, yeah, Red Tier Stone. Even Sanso, at the time, Sanso had said that, honestly, a Red Tier Stone in a marathon is suicide. There's nobody in their right mind would just willingly do BKH RTSR for a marathon. And I completely agree. I think that's insane. And that was pretty much that. That was the decision-making process. However, people kept going like, why aren't you using Red Tier Stone? It's faster. And I'm like, it's dangerous. And then they're like, well, I bet Sansa would do it. I don't care what Sansa would do. It's not his marathon run, it's my marathon run. So, yeah, there was a lot of people incredibly, offensive about their opinions for no apparent reason. But I decided to just do BKH no RTSR. I practiced it a lot. I got my PB down to 57:55 game time, which is pretty damn good if you ask me. And so I felt fine. I felt like, this is a run I can do with not many mistakes, if any. And then Seath happened. But, yeah, that was the decision-making process. Here, Blighttown went pretty well. I was really scared that I was going to get shoved off of the thing when doing Blighttown drop, because I'm not sure if anybody else has noticed this, but whenever your frame rate acts, either on the lower end or the higher end of performance. So, for example, the game is supposed to run at 30 FPS the whole time, and everything is programmed for 30 FPS. However, the game doesn't actually run at 30 FPS. The average frame rate for Dark Souls is pretty much like 28 FPS, roughly. And so when your actions actually work at full 30 FPS or work at, like 15, so the two ends of the spectrum, let's say, then the physics decide to break because, break from what you understand they're supposed to work like. And that includes Blighttown drop, because all falls, when you walk off a cliff or roll off a cliff or something, that's supposed to put you a certain distance, right? It's supposed to make you move on a set distance. Also, that was bullshit. That should have been a stun. But, Dark Souls sometimes refuses to stun Quelaag. But yeah, you're supposed to move a certain distance, and that attack was just early. But when the game runs at a frame rate that you're not accustomed to, or for example a Blighttown drop isn't accustomed to, then you'll move a different distance because the way that it moves you a certain distance is it applies a force or a arc of motion that's supposed to be applied at 30 frames per second. So let's say the arc of motion is supposed to last half a second. That means it'll do a certain amount of physics calculation each frame for 15 frames in a row. So if the game is running at Smough 30, that'll be half a second. If it's running at 28, then that'll be a little over half a second, right? Etc. So I was actually really afraid that the gaming computer would be running Dark Souls actually too fast for me to undershoot the Blighttown drop, which has happened. And know that it's not a DSfix thing, first off. Secondly, I did have DSfix installed. However, I only used it to skip the intro, which doesn't affect anything at all, period. All it does is make it less annoying for people to watch. It affects 0 things in the entire game. 0, nada. All it affects is your real time. About 15 seconds just lopped off the real time per quit load, which I can't emphasize enough, doesn't matter. And like I'm trying to say, the DSfix thing, people think happens when you use DSfix frame rate unlock cap at 30, it breaks things. No. What happens is the game actually runs at Smough 30, which is not anticipated with most of the things that you consider normal. Every single, quote, glitch that has happened with frame rate unlock cap at 30 has actually happened on every system without DSfix, just because the game runs at, variable frame rate up to 30. So if your game is running at Smough 30, things can happen that shouldn't be happening because they never expected the game to be running at Smough 30 ever. However, if you're lucky on your PS3 or Xbox and the game disc spins in a perfect way and the stars align, you'll run at Smough 30 for a section of time that you normally wouldn't be. Thus, strange things can happen. And all DSfix does is makes your game run at 30 FPS consistently, which makes it more obvious that those things are happening. If you don't have DSfix frame rate unlock cap at 30 and you open up the game and you look at your frame rate, you will not stay at 30. You will dip below it always. There's no exceptions. So I just felt like I might want to explain that, get that off my chest, because that's something that has really bothered me a lot about people complaining about Dark Souls runs. So let's go back to this run. That was an awesome forest. I actually got RuneSkip first try. At the time, I had only practiced RuneSkip for like a week, at least that strat. So I didn't think I was going to get it at all, but I got it first try, which was pretty sick. Unfortunately, Seath gave me the worst possible AI this fight. There is pretty much... I pretty much rolled Snake Eyes 8 times. It's absurd, this AI. He was a little bit nice with the double swings. However, that sucks. So somebody commented that I should have just hit him when he was backing up. No, if I hit him when he was backing up, he was actually backing up to the gravestone. So if I had gone in for a hit, he would have hit the gravestone as I was swinging my weapon. And when he actually hits a wall when backing up, he'll do an immediate swing. I guess the second half of the fight wasn't bad, but the first half was terrible. So if I had gone in for the swing, like somebody had commented I should, then I would have been hit and probably died. Because in this run you don't have any vitality at all. So I had 11, as you can see. So one swing from Seath, specifically if I'm in an attack animation, will probably do 3/4 to full depending on which swing. So I just didn't want to risk anything, because a death is the worst thing that can happen in this game, especially for a marathon. And I was pretty deathless up until a certain point. But yeah, Sen's Fortress, if I recall correctly, went like Sen's Fortress, which, makes casual gamers, wet themselves. So that was okay. One thing I'm noticing that I really don't like is the gamma. On my screen it was fine, but the gamma on the stream apparently was awful. You can't, like, the visibility is like Dark Souls, right? That's what Dark Souls is intended to be like, where you don't have much visibility at all. It's supposed to be very dark, very eerie, very kind of horror. And that's cool and all, but that doesn't really make it look too good on stream, if you ask me. Um, Especially because, like, look at my character. You can't even tell anything about them at all. Also, hindsight, I could have died there. So, the scary thing about that is with 11 vitality and the Ring of Favor and Protection, or FAP, um, doing a backstep into that boulder, if it does a double hit at specific times, the two hits are at specific frames in your backstep, you can die very easily. I actually got really lucky. I got the minimum damage double hit. So, I got lucky. I should have been wearing the chest piece to make sure that I didn't die. But, whatever. Sometimes you just get lucky. So, other than that, yeah, Sen's was pretty much perfect. There goes Omni. Bye, Omni. uh, yeah, not much else to talk about for Sens. But as a whole, I think my stamina management has been pretty good since the start of the run. Yeah, so like I said, there are going to be some spots where I don't have anything to talk about, so I apologize in advance as well as for right now. I apologize, but I'll try to be, fill in the void a lot of the time. Oh yeah, so here is pretty much the point in time where I had come to a roadblock in my Dark Souls playing. This wasn't working. The fast strat for Iron Golem had just ceased to work, and I have no idea what caused it, but it has sorted itself out now, as you can see. But it was really, really bizarre, and I was actually really concerned I wasn't going to get it, because it's really, really cool as somebody who just casually plays the game to see that Iron Golem can just fall off of the edge and die. So, alright, and then here, Johan had commented, this is like the most breathtaking area in the entire game, and I completely agree. To somebody who, hasn't played the game, or has played the game and not reached here, seeing that, just seeing the sun and the lighting effects is just insane. But yeah, so Iron Golem went well. I got the fast strat, didn't die to the fire, moved on to this bonfire, and I'm trying to recall. Yeah, no, I did make a couple mistakes in Anor Londo, so I'll point them out when I get there. One of them I think is pretty obvious, so I probably won't have to point it out, but I'll point it out anyway. So this is where I normally split, and it's not a loading screen, but I killed a boss, so let's praise the sun. So I'm not sure why I rolled back. I think at the time I hadn't put 2 and 2 together with the weapon swap to just walk and then go for the swag jump, but swag jump part 1 was perfect. Swag jump part 2 not so perfect, but that's fine. I pulled out my weapon because these dudes on the rafters are dicks. They're so mean. Okay, so here we go. This is probably the first big mistake of this run. I had no control over that, and I think I thought I was dead here because I should have died. That backstab does, I want to say 5/6 of your life, and I had like 3/4 or something. But I got really lucky and wasn't dead. Like insanely lucky. And then I healed up here to play it safe. And then got really scared that that guy was actually going to reach me. But getting backstabbed is terrible. There was only one thing I could have done about it, and there was no way to tell if it actually would have worked. And the only way that I could have done anything about it was opening the pause menu. Because opening that menu stops some backstabs from those enemies, and I still can't explain it. It's just kind of an anomaly, but it works sometimes. This gargoyle was a jerk, and I was afraid he was going to hit me, but fortunately he did not. and we got past him just fine. But that was pretty much the biggest mistake that happened. Again, there's not much to do about it. It just happens. And then the rest of Anor Londo goes pretty much as planned, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. I actually haven't rewatched this run since, this is my first time actually watching it post SGDQ, so a lot of the stuff is just coming from memory. There's the zigzag strats. Gargoyle killed himself. That I actually don't remember. Also, getting hit in the back is terrible and shouldn't have happened. So I am kind of upset. And then that happened, and I could have died right there. And that would have been the end of the world. Like, that was the worst thing. There the camera glitched out in a way I've never seen it. So when your camera intersects with something solid, it shoves it back out, and it's very predictable all of the time. Except then. That was the first time it had pointed me that way. So I was beyond confused and almost walked off the edge. And then here's the 15-second safety bonfire. Again, marathon. I'm not even sure if I had to use it. I think I died, didn't I? God, I don't even remember. It's been so long. Oh yeah, so here's the part where you hold your souls. It's scary. This is the part that I was actually the most worried about before the event, simply because losing these souls pretty much means that backup strats have to be pulled out. Backup strats, in case you're wondering, are kill the same crystal lizards that are killed in RTSR and get your weapon upgraded, same time that you upgraded in RTSR, which means that I would not be doing 4 kings first, I'd be doing Seath first, and Nito second, so I can actually have my halberd upgraded for kings as well as Bed of Chaos, which is a nightmare. It's the actual worst thing, because I would have had to fight Seath with a +0 weapon, and seeing how well I fought him with a +5 weapon, probably wouldn't have worked out too well. And if you haven't watched this run and you're hearing me foreshadowing to a certain Seath fight a lot, it's because it really stuck with me. It was kind of traumatic, let's call it. But you know what? That's okay. So yeah, there we go. We have our upgraded weapon. We have our stuff, and now on to the suckiest boss fight. Oh boy, this boss fight sucks. Oh, there's Naglaria. I didn't even know when Naglaria came in the room. You even talked. Dude, when did that happen? He was talking to Kira. Okay. I had no idea. So, I got the bad AI on Ornstein, followed by the good AI on Smough. I was incredibly lucky with the first movement of Smough. Unfortunately, I was incredibly unlucky there. And I think I die here? Oh no! Yeah, okay. That I shouldn't have gotten out of that alive. I cheated death there. Like, on a scale of 1 to dead, I was approximately an 11 at that point. Then this fight went way downhill. Like, way downhill. I'm getting hit constantly. They're perfectly synced, pretty much. It's just a terrible, terrible nightmare. Here, that sucks. So, that attack, if you get hit by the first part of that attack, you actually have exactly 1 frame or 0 frames to roll out of it. I've looked into it in depth since then, and it turns out that if your game is not running at smooth 30, if your game is running at, 28 or 29 even, I think still does it, you have no frame to escape. It is just a 2-hit punch, right? A 2-hit combo. Which is terrible. However, if you're running at 30 FPS, which fortunately the gaming computer had a good enough setup to run the game at smooth 30, you have exactly 1 frame to get out of that. Now, you can buffer the input somewhat. It's really a finicky buffer. I'm pretty sure the buffer only allows you to have a 2-frame window instead of a 1-frame. However, it's really, really hard to test, a single hit of a single boss that is somewhat based on how well the game is currently running. So, like I said, I've looked into it in depth, and I'm still not 100% certain, but you pretty much have 1 frame to escape. And it's not easy. So I died there, and I'm not sure if I died there because the game wasn't running a smooth 30. I assume that's not the case. I assume I just missed the window. But that's what I meant when I said that was frame perfect, was my attempt to roll rather than the previous thing that I had done. That was another comment that I had seen about the run, was somebody was like, what roll? What was frame perfect? Nothing was. He just got hit because he's bad. So that happened. But second time I fought him, pretty much perfect. Nothing went poorly at all. It was like... it was pretty much perfect. And then we kill Booby Lady, because we need Anor Londo Dark, obviously. Here's them strats right there. I didn't get the jump because I'm bad and was nervous. Again, a lot of the minor mistakes can be drawn back to my nervousness. Because, like I've said time and time again throughout this little run, is I was very fucking nervous. Yeah. Then there's that jump. Nailed it. I'm amazing. That jump is pretty cool, but really finicky and incredibly inconsistent. And by the way, people, if you're wondering whose arm is sprouting out of the side of my head, that's Rom Scout back there. Right back here. Right around there. He pretty much didn't sleep. I think that right now he had just woken up from like a 2-hour nap, which was 2 of the 10 hours he had slept in the entire event, something like that. So he pretty much didn't sleep because he's insane or something, or he just has the worst insomnia of all time. I don't remember if I died in New Londo. I feel like I might have. I could be wrong. Not sure. Also, I don't think I sent the elevator back up. I think that was another mistake that happened. I could be completely wrong. Maybe I'm just putting all of the mistakes of the runs that I've done since the event into the remembrance of this run because I thought it was trash. But, don't know. We'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. So, yeah, Rape Room went really well. Also, I apologize if anybody's offended by me calling it Rape Room. That's just kind of the nickname that has been given to it. Also, the ladder of 0 FPS didn't give 0 FPS. I was baffled, by the way. That was actually something I hadn't expected. Also, I think I missed the first shot. No, I hit it. When did I miss the first shot? I don't know. Oh, yeah. You can see, even though it's a little laggy, can I actually... Is that actually my media player, this lag? I feel like it is. I'm using VLC. VLC has some very slight performance issues on occasion, so it could be the actual video itself or the video player. Let's find out. It appears as if it's the video itself. Yeah, well, fortunately, I was so inaccurate with this. Look, I'm going up, down, up, down, up, down. Come on, just aim at the head. I just couldn't. Minute movements of my thumbs just wouldn't work. I can't imagine doing doing this game with mouse and keyboard. Not only because it's bad, but like trying to play any mouse keyboard game for this event must have been insane, especially if it's like a first-person game. But yeah, I think, did this end up going wrong? I don't think so. I think this was fine. Yeah, I'm pretty sure my new Londo and 4 Kings was just pretty standard stuff, nothing terrible, but nothing to write home about. Oh yeah, this was the part where I was like joking. I think that I was like, oh my god, I think I'm gonna die to the abyss. Also, I actually came really close to hitting stuff on the way down, like really really close. I'm sorry if you can see my mouse right now. By the way, I'm making circles with it because I'm bored with it. Um, thank God I have two monitors. So yeah, kings are just tank and spank. Hope for no counter hits. Pretty sure I didn't counter hit anything and got 3 kings. I think I might have even told Brasentia to just do donations during this fight because it's straightforward. Maybe not. I should have though. Oh yeah, the grab is really unlucky. There's only one way to dodge the grab, and it's inconsistent. Um, at least in this route. And that only way is to roll to the left at a somewhat strange angle. Oh yeah, that was a mistake. I did a rolling hit. That was right. Okay, so the rolling hit does less damage to the kings. So I was kind of concerned about how it was going to set up his health, but it ended up being fine. I'm pretty sure it only happened because I had stored a roll and then thought that I could attack and like stored a roll and then a rolling hit. It was pretty much the worst thing. Yeah, this king's fight went pretty normal. I'm okay with this. I should actually be running my splits next to this. I'm curious to see where it all went wrong. Okay, so then here I'm explaining we do kings first because we save real time with it, even though game time is faster to not do this. You know, I was doing it for a marathon, so real time is what matters. And then we go to coming up is the most traumatic moment of my SGDQ experience. One thing though, I think I got Duke skip 2 out of 3 times. I think the first time I went for Duke skip, I got it second try, and then after the horrible horrible moment, I got it first try. I'm pretty sure that was the case. Oh, also, I want to apologize if I look, stupid. When you're, nervous and focusing on a game, your face doesn't exactly emulate what you're feeling. uh, so there are a lot of spots in this run where I make some really dumb facial expressions. I find it funnier than anything else. Oh, did I not praise for 4 kings? I believe I didn't. Hmm. Yeah, I don't think I did. Oh yeah, so here's another spot where I can just die out of the blue because randomness has decided that fate upon me. Fortunately, it didn't happen. So that's really, really nice. Again, sorry for the frame rate getting a bit laggy. It's just bound to happen when, the streaming computer is running for 5 days straight, streaming in 720p the whole time, and recording all the all the perspectives at the same time, and just all of the stuff happening. Frame drops happen, or frame rate decay, I guess, happens. Yeah. So here was the first miss of the Duke skip. Again, sorry for the frame rate. But one miss, eh, not the end of the world. At least it wasn't like 30. I'm just joking. Cerno, I love you. Um, so I think I just get it second try. Yeah, and again, my timing was off. Oh no, I get it like 3rd or 4th. No, I'm actually not even sure, dude. Huh. I swear I got a 2nd try. Well, I'm remembering things incredibly inaccurately. That's okay. That happens on occasion. Especially when it's been however many months since the event. Yeah, this one I get it. So 3rd try. 3rd try and then 1st try. That's fine. And that dude moved out of the way really nicely. I'm glad he was such a kind fellow to me. And then here I remark, I could get the safety bonfire, but nobody ever dies to Seath. It's impossible to die to Seath, because you just one-shackled him. That's my voice of me in the past, because I'm an idiot. So, I'm like, yeah, we're not getting the safety bonfire because I'm not going to die, because I've never died here. It's literally been 5 months since I've died in the Crystal Caves. A lot of people think I'm probably making too big of a deal out of the death to Seath than I should, but the fact of the matter is, it's really embarrassing to lose 5 minutes out of the blue to missing one running attack and for not realizing that Seath was still alive. If I was paying attention, like, if I had my headset on and that's where the game sound was coming from, I know Seath wasn't dead. But they were coming from speakers, and I'm not used to speakers, so I didn't hear the audio cue of him starting up a new attack. And I had assumed that when his health bar had been completely emptied, he was dead. However, he wasn't, because the magic pixel that happens quite often. And I'll try to explain exactly what happened and what was going through my mind when we get there. It'll be a lot easier to explain with visual cues and whatnot. But yeah, Crystal Caves went normal. Nothing big, nothing huge, nothing terrible. I'm pretty sure I don't get any clams. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I don't. Them pro-ass no clam strats. Look at that. Look at that swag. Yeah, I had been practicing the runs on my laptop, which is what I actually stream from, at the event. However, it was really hard to actually get practice in because of a certain thing that I'll explain later. So I'll explain this right now. I switched to Halberd. I missed the running attack because I didn't aim towards the middle. Now what that ends up doing is I don't have a visual reference of Seath's health bar versus how many swings I have because I missed that swing. So here I was like, okay, recovery strats, let's think about this. Okay, he did that attack, that's good. So I thought I hit the core there, and I thought he was dead. However, I didn't hit the core, I hit the tentacle, and it did 382 instead of the 640. And because I had never missed my running attacks, I assumed that would have killed. There were 2 reasons that I assumed that would have killed. And both of those things didn't happen. So I very, very confused at the time of why he didn't die. Again, if I was, using my headset listening to an audio cue, I would have known he wasn't dead. But at the time, like, if I'm hitting his chords doing 600 some instead of the 382, his health bar looks to be about 400. Okay, that should kill. I didn't look at the number because he can't, because it's white, so I didn't see that it did 382. And I saw his health bar go down to basically 0, so I thought he was dead. So many reasons that he should have been dead. And, he wasn't dead. And here you can see I'm like contemplating suicide or something. Like, pretty much it was just terrible, terrible, terrible. But like I was saying about practice, I didn't really get to practice well at the event a lot because my laptop has this wonderful, wonderful thing. Being an NVIDIA Asus laptop NVIDIA card, it has this great thing called Optimus technology, which automatically switches based on the setup you have, which video card is being used. And because I didn't bring my second monitor, I didn't have two monitors plugged in, so my computer was like, I don't need this GPU, and ignored the NVIDIA one and used the integrated one. So my frame rate was consistently like 15 to 20 FPS while at the event, and I had no idea what was causing it, so I really didn't get to practice. All of my practice was done on this PC that the run is being done on. Oh, and there's True Shade in the background. He was also a pretty cool guy. He took Ramu! So... So like I said, yeah, the frame rate was terrible. All of my practice was done on this computer. However, I couldn't just be sitting in this room practicing, you know? This is the marathon room. I just can't be here the whole time. Other people need to practice. Other people need to install their games, etc. So I only got, like, 2 halves of runs in. I pretty much didn't get to practice this part. I think the farthest I got was 4 Kings. So I didn't get to practice Seath at all while at the event. Which really sucked. I mean, he's not really a boss I should have to practice, but maybe if I had gotten that practice, I would have run into a similar issue in missing the running attack, and I would have known to, you know, swing that extra time. But, you know, what's done is done. What happened, happened. Nothing can change it. And I'm keeping track. I died at 42:40, so I'm actually curious how much time that ended up losing. I think this time I take the safety bonfire because I'm like, this is not happening. I'm not fucking dying. It's not gonna die fucking twice. Yeah. Without the safety bonfire, how long did this take? 45:40? I'm really curious just how much time this safety bonfire takes. Because that's actually something that I find kind of important to know. 25 seconds-ish. So 25-second detour to get that. So I could have spent 25 seconds in order to save. Let's find out. Seath should die in the next minute and a half or so, though. Which means... it's a minute and a half, then it was exactly 5 minutes minus about 25 seconds. So yeah, okay. I could have spent 25 seconds to save 4.5 minutes. Obviously, I didn't know that at the time, but, you know, it's interesting. It's very interesting to actually think about those kind of metrics. So, for future marathons, perhaps, for anybody running this game, just think about it. So, the second time through, everything went pretty swimmingly. Unfortunately, having died to Seath, I have to break the crystal again, which sucks. When you have to actually break the crystal after entering the fight, it's pretty much the worst experience of all time. I'm not even sure how I did it. I'm really curious right now. I feel like I might have quit loaded. Probably not, though. I don't remember that. Oh, so here was a spot that I could have died. I didn't think about this at all at the time. I could have died there. I could have just died a second time. Right there. Like, those clams, when you run through the middle, there is actually a certain pattern of clams that can just kill you. And there's nothing you can do about it. Right, I was blinded by the crystals. This is the spot where I was really, really concerned with getting cursed as well as slapped by the tentacles. As you saw, my curse meter was like filled up to almost half from just standing in the crystals for like 2 seconds. This was really risky. Standing there was incredibly risky. Fortunately, I got really lucky, and he slapped his left tentacle before his right. If he slaps his right first, there's no visual cue. If he slaps his left first, then he lifts up his right one immediately upon slapping the left, and you have plenty of time to react to it. But if he had slapped his right first, I was going to get smacked into the crystals and maybe get cursed and died. So, things to think about. This ended up being the most intense fight. Also, what was I saying about how much time? All right, there. I did an extra swing on Seath. How much time was I? Did I imagine I lost? because it was actually 6 minutes. Yikes. Yeah, I lost 6 minutes. Oh boy, that is a lot worse than I thought. I thought it was going to be 5 minutes, but I guess it was 5 minutes to get to Seath. And then we're praising. So next up is Nito. And I think this went fine. I actually had a run somewhat recently where Nito decided to actually shriek 7 times in a row. And then shriek an 8th time after walking 2 steps. So it was the worst thing imaginable. Fortunately, that didn't happen in this run. I don't even think he shrieked once. What kind of sucks is that in an environment like this, even when you go like, oh, serious time. First off, I didn't feel comfortable saying serious time because I have never said, oh, could I get some serious time? And it always so, if I'm going to ask for, quote, serious time, I'd rather just be like, hey, can I listen for an audio cue? But I feel like serious time is kind of a, it's kind of a weird thing in these events. Some people take it as a joke, like they don't treat it seriously. Some people just scream, they cry serious time, they cry wolf with serious time. And then, I don't know. I think if you're going to ask people to be quiet to listen to an audio cue, you should say, hey, can you guys be quiet so I can listen to an audio cue? But maybe that's just me. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too logically or something. But yeah, this is one of the few times where I actually needed to listen for an audio cue. There are 2 times in the run where audio cues are actually important. But that's the thing about marathons is that live marathon is that even if you ask for serious time or you ask, can I get quiet for an audio cue, there's going to be noise happening and you can't listen to it as you'd hope to listen to it if you're just streaming from home or whatever. Or like, if you're at home and you're like, I need to listen to an audio cue, then you just shut up and then you have peace and quiet to listen to an audio cue. But at a live marathon, you're not always going to get it, especially if, people in the practice room are a bit riled up about something, which is, happens. Or, I don't know, maybe the guy reading donations doesn't want to give you your serious time. Echo the Dolphin Golden. But I'm pretty sure I didn't even need to use any audio cues. Also, I got really unlucky on where I landed on that slope. There's nothing you can do if you land wrong, and there's no way to land right every time. You can only land right most of the time. Shit happens. Tomb of the Giants is actually a really visually cool area for people who are new to Dark Souls speed. That was just a bad jump. I'm bad. There's nothing that I, could have done about that jump. I was just terrible. But yeah, visually, Tomb of the Giants is a really, really cool place for people who are new to speedrunning Dark Souls or have never even seen Dark Souls, because it's just pitch black and all it is rope memorization of which direction to go, which is really cool. And I was just showing off, when I panned the camera over, I was just showing off Ash Lake, because this game is beautiful. Like, people were commenting on like how gorgeous this game is. People who haven't played the game before, so I was like, hey, I'll show off some of that. Why not? And I think the pinwheels gave me a bit of a scare here. Yeah, that pinwheel took a while to charge his shot, and that kind of threw me off and made me a little scared. And then that one just hit me there, almost running me out of stamina. And I could have died quite easily if I had run out of stamina with that. And then here I was playing it ultra mega safe and needed to listen for audio cues, which, like I said, I don't believe happened. And then I'm talking a lot. Oh, right. Here was the... Somebody said they'd donate 15 extra, so I'm like, well, what is it? And then got stunned out of it. I had figured that Nito. The person said that they would donate the 15 extra if I had taunted Quailag, which is unrealistic, to say the least. So I decided to do it to Nito, because I felt Nito was the safest. Here I could have died, actually. If the skeleton broke my poise when I was trying to drink a flask, and then the two skeletons could have just wombo comboed me while Nito exploded and I would have died. So I was cutting it really close, got a bit lucky. And then here I was really hesitant to actually do this homeward bone, but I at the time knew with 100% certainty, also there was Procentia hand, with 100% certainty that after the white explosion is safe. Oh yeah, here I missed this like for 15 seconds straight or something, something obscene. And that's just because of slope physics in this game are really, really finicky and don't make sense ever. I think it's the elevator up. This is the I don't know. I think it is. Okay. I was thinking of a different run. Fair enough. Oh yeah. And then I think either Kick said it here or it had just popped in my head. Somebody had said it like during a practice run or something. They were like, "Oh, you're not going to send the elevator back up?" And I was like, "I'm not going to die to Bed of Chaos." Because, I won't. Called shot right here. Obviously I don't, but I'm making pretty reasonable time, to be completely honest, for a 6-minute loss to Seath. So yeah, there I kind of was scared that they were both going to do cross attacks, because if they both did cross attacks, I was getting hit and getting poisoned, and it was going to be a terrible, terrible experience going down towards Betacast. And then there, I was really, really hesitant, like very scared of doing 2 Blighttown drops on this computer, because again, I thought that it might not give me the distance, and I would have died. But I did. I survived both times. Here comes the running part. So far, this run has had 2 deaths. Yeah, 2 deaths, which is not bad. But it's soon to be like 10 or something. Oh boy, another mistake happens soon. Yeah, this run could have been a lot better, like a lot better. And the other thing is, at the time, I had suddenly grown incapable of performing the Cecil skip first try, so I hadn't even gotten a chance to practice it on this machine. So when this part was coming up, I was like, I am going to die at least once. I just am going to die at least once because I didn't get to practice it, like I said. And that might have actually just psyched me out mentally and made me think to try to adjust in order to not die that first time. And it ended up being for the worst. Or for the worse. I don't know. That's a weird saying. I should never use it. And thank Christ I take this safety bonfire always. Otherwise this could have been bad. Zeus's discharge off in the background, saying what up. And the other reason I didn't want to do RTSR was not only because it's super easy to die everywhere, but also because I wanted the extra vitality for Zeus's skip. 29 vitality is a lot more vitality than 25 during the Cecil skip. Yeah, and there I was both checking to see if Capra was following, as well as showing it off, trying to just display what happens while we shoot the arrow. And then here, I shouldn't have died there. That rock pushed me way too far left, and that's more slope physics. I assumed I was going to be pushed left, but not that far, hence me walking. Somebody was commenting on, oh, you should have rolled into the safe spot. But the fact of the matter is, I should never be that far away, so 2 rolls should have been enough. And secondly, if I had rolled, there was actually a chance I would have gone over the safe spot at that point and just died anyway. So Now, that time I actually expected to die from fall damage. Um, because I had rolled way too early, I think. Yeah. Where are my souls? I should have recovered. Where were they, though? That's something I'm wondering. If they were in the lava, I understand, but now I'm questioning that. Also, check out this fucking bloom, dude. It's so good. Did I actually only die once? Holy damn, I thought I died several times. That must have been a different marathon. Oh, I did in Happy Tales. I died to Seath skip like 4 times. Ugh. That's where I died a lot. Okay, well I died one time, but it was due to, some bullshit. So 3 deaths, and I think that's actually the final death. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with 3 deaths in a marathon run. However, unfortunately, we have now surpassed where my PB was at the time in terms of real time, and there's the 1 hour mark. So here, I wanted to do the safest of safe. So I actually walked there to try to bait out the jump attack from the Taurus Demon, because I didn't want to deal with trying to time a roll properly at all. And then I healed here because even though I've never died to Demon Fire Sage in a non-RTSR run, I didn't want to risk anything at this point. It was just, way too much at this point. I had already lost 6 minutes from the death to Seath. I didn't want to lose any more time that I could avoid. Fire Sage went alright. The fact that he did that attack instead of the AI loop is really baffling to me. Again, the AI loop isn't perfect. It still can be, messed with RNG, such as him deciding to just not stomp. It's like, at that point, when you're at that range, he has something like a 5% chance to not butt stomp, but, sometimes you just roll snake eyes, like I said earlier. So, there's the bonfire. Then we go to Centipede. Centipede, I think, went pretty well. I'm trying to think. There's a lot of this run that I don't remember. I should just start reacting to things instead of trying to say things before they happen. Because, like I said, it's been quite a while. And I apologize if my commentary gets a bit redundant at times. Like I said at the start, there's not that much to talk about because Dark Souls is a whole lot of sprinting and boss fights. So during the sprinting sections, what am I supposed to say? Like, here, I did good stamina management. So I'm pretty much just gonna try to comment on boss fights. Oh yeah, that was baffling to me how he actually died from that. I've never had the Centipede die, like take that much damage in that last swing. He always survives on a sliver, so I guess I got a bit lucky. The game finally decided to appease me and give me a boss kill when I shouldn't have had it, rather than vice versa. And then here, I don't need no fucking safety bonfires. Get out of my life. Except for the one previously. Obviously, I needed that one. But yeah. So, Dragon Butts. Because of the death to Seath skip, my humanity count is quite low. And that's really bad because this lava actually deals a butt ton of damage. If I had, like 18 humanity at this point, which is normally what you have, roughly, I wouldn't have even had to heal there. I could have healed off all of the damage that I'm taking in one Estus at the next branch. So, dying on the Seath skip had some lasting effects, obviously. But, Izalith went pretty well. About as well as you can hope for, especially in a marathon run. And I'm pretty sure Beta Chaos just went perfectly. Oh yeah, here was an awkward moment. I was like thinking I should heal, and then I noticed that I was actually still sprinting, and I was like, this is a bad time to heal. So I pretty much just kept sprinting until the spot where I'm pretty sure my stamina management was terrible here though. Like when I heal, I still have like half stamina or something. Something dumb like that. Maybe not. Maybe I did pretty well. Oh no, no, I shouldn't have done that much. What am I doing? What's happening here? I just like stopped there twice. That's the problem, dude. I heal here? Oh my god, I'm terrible at games. Oh, in the background there, you for a second saw X Full Metal 17. There he is. He's the guy who we're using his PC. The streaming PC or gaming stream computer, whatever you want to call it. That's his, and he's a really nice guy. He's pretty cool. He ran Braid at the event, and I'm pretty sure his run went fine. But if I'm not mistaken, he was also quite nervous. So nerves got to him at a couple points, which same here, bro. So it's fine. But I guess didn't go for the immediate swing, so I had to wait here and hope, pray to RNGesus that nothing would go horribly wrong. I also talked to him about Bastion a bit. I think he's looking into picking it up still. I could be wrong though. I wanted to run Bastion for bonus stream, but I never got around to installing it. But I did do VVV for bonus stream. That was pretty fun. Even though I'm terrible at that game compared to the people who actually run it. Speaking of which, Fiery Blizzard is going to SGDQ, so I'm pretty hype about that. That guy's pretty cool, and he runs V. So yeah, I don't think any fireballs happened, which is nice. Lack of fireballs is nice. That was a really good firestorm timing. There's 3 timings for firestorm that can happen if you follow my exact path, and that was the second best. So pretty much the timings that can happen are while running from the second orb to the middle, right there when you get to the middle, or when you jump onto the branch. Obviously, they're good in the order that I stated them. So, on the way from orb to center is the best one, while in center is second best, and then on the branch is the worst thing that can ever happen to anybody ever. But there we go. That's the Lord Souls. We're praising the sun. Don't have much more praising. So this pretty much has gone pretty well. Aside from the obvious glaring mistakes, this run went fairly smooth. Nothing enormous outside of the Seath death, and 3 deaths is not bad. I lost 6 minutes on Seath death. I lost about 1.5 to 2 minutes on ONS. So that's, let's call it 8. And then I lost 45 seconds-ish on ceaseless skip, so 8:45 lost, roughly, from deaths. Okay. I can take that. That means if those deaths hadn't happened, I think this run still wouldn't have been sub 60 RTA. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. That's okay then. I was actually really upset. I thought that the Seath death was like the sole reason that I missed sub 60 RTA. I would have been really happy if I got sub 60 RTA. So, yeah. But there's not much left. So I'm actually going to take this time to thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. And if you want to watch this with the live commentary, which is more my style of thing, where I explain why I'm doing things, what's happening, and if you want to listen to Bersentia's beautiful voice read donation comments, then I should have that uploaded as well. If I don't have that uploaded at the time, be patient. It will be uploaded soon enough. But there should be a link to that in the description when it's available. And yeah, oh here, swag. So at the time I really hadn't learned the timing for the first parry, which sucks, but you know, shit happens. And then here I went for my strats, which he grabbed. Yeah, so my Gwyn RNG was pretty weak. Pretty weak. God, I need to work on some RNG manip. Fortunately, that second time, or the second time worked pretty well. Gwyn's dead, and we're going to victory, showing off that Dark Lord ending. Then I heard 109.28, and I was like, yeah, that's fine. Still way underestimate. Thank God. If I'd gone overestimate, I think I would just have to leave the speedrunning community forever. Somebody had actually donated to see the Dark Lord ending, so it was kind of cool to give them that. Even though I was going to do it anyway. And then we're going to find out game time, but like I said before, thank you all for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. And if you guys like this post-commentary sort of stuff, I might actually end up doing this as a somewhat normal thing for maybe PBs or future marathon runs, stuff like that. So, yep, that's pretty much all I got. And, thank you. God, I'm a smiley asshole. Look at me. Why am I smiling so much? Fucking stop being happy. Oh, no, wait. Okay. Not bad. But yeah, thanks, guys.